And with this, I'm asking our keynote speaker, Sergey, to come up here. Give Sergey a big applause. So you're running away again, but that is okay. So I'm going to join. So you are with the European Parliament.
Yes, I am. I don't know which micro
Both work. And you have been doing this for quite a while, right?
Since 2019, so it's my second term.
Your second term. And you like Brussels?
I love Brussels. I love Berlin. I love Baden-Württemberg. I guess I have to say this here now, after the keynote speech. No, seriously, it's a great place. And by the way, Baden-Württemberg and Brussels is also great. We have a great representation there, which we really enjoy being.
And Sergey, you're a transatlanticist. And
I am. I don't know whether this is already kind of a dying species, but yeah, I'm still a transatlanticist. Just spent the whole May in the United States with the interruption for Strasbourg and talked a lot about transatlantic relations.
And with this, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great to be here, and I regret that I'm not here between you and your coffee break, but I am your coffee break, the way I understood. But the topics are too serious, maybe, to think about coffee. Let me start with a train. You all remember in 2022, when the war started and Russia attacked Ukraine, many asked whether the Ukrainian army would survive and would hold. Few asked whether the trains would keep running. But they did. And while missiles were falling, and while people were oppressed and pushed away and cities were occupied, the trains were running. And they brought a lot of people away from danger. They brought a lot of equipment. They brought guests like ourselves. Many of us use those trains, going back and forth from peace to war, from Brussels to Kiev. And this is what our new world is about. It's not just about missiles. And it's not just about soldiers. It's about engineers. It's about people who operate the trains, the people who program the trains, people who program the drones. It's about much more than weapons. It's about mobility, it's about connectivity, and it's about infrastructure. And this is the old new lesson that many of us have forgotten. The lesson is not so new, but in the European Union, we decided at some point for ourselves, maybe detached from realities of this world, that geopolitics and economy exist in different worlds. That economy is for prosperity, that economy is for markets, and that power and geopolitics is for armies. Well, it's not just 2022 that brought us back into the reality where both not only coexists, but is intrinsically interdependent. And we have to design both the power of geopolitics and the power of geoeconomy, having both in mind. Because the world as we're seeing it today does not have this distinction. And what appears to be commerce has become strategy and weapons. What appears to be interdependence have become vulnerabilities, also in our transatlantic relations. What appears to have been savings and efficiency have become risks. And Europe, the powerful idea that we would be taming power by the power of markets, has to evaluate this idea that it is about taming power. Markets are also about designing power. Dependencies can be weaponized, technologies can become instruments of coercion, and we must have interests and instruments of how to go against it. Europe must find itself, and Europe must overcome itself. As I said just recently during our conversation in Axel Springer, it must find itself because we need a clearer understanding of our role in the world. We still cannot imagine our role in the world. And we must overcome ourselves because many of our instincts and many of our structures belong to a world that no longer exists. And this brings me to one of the central points that we are discussing today, also in Brussels. What does it mean to be sovereign nowadays? How do we become sovereign? How do we keep sovereign? And how do we remain sovereign without being isolationist in a world where isolation is a death penalty? The goal cannot be independence for everyone. The goal must be capacity to act. And in this, both is important, capacity and action. Ability to act, to make decisions, but at the same time, ability to have capacities to follow through on this and to deliver. So the task is to distinguish between unavoidable dependencies and dangerous vulnerabilities. And this is what we've been doing. We've been doing this in Brussels. We've been doing this in Berlin. The first challenge that we're facing is how to make decision-making easier and faster. And this is something that Brussels is facing. This is the biggest challenge of our days. It is a challenge for our ability to make fast and clear decisions in the area of defense, but it is also our ability to make fast and clear decisions in the area of innovation, because the Commission can present the pack on technology, independence and sovereignty, but they will have to follow through, and follow through very fast. We need new structures, and those structures will not be the reformed European Union treaties. For that, we don't have the majorities and the unanimities we need, but we need to start thinking outside of the box. And I know that Madam von der Leyen or also some people in Berlin, I just heard about this from the Foreign Office yesterday, are skeptical about these new ways. Just yesterday someone said that the Security Council idea that I proposed and that Commissioner Kubilius is pushing for is something from outside of this world. Well, I'm not sure who is outside of this world and who is judging from outside of this world. We cannot be deciding about issues of our existence with 27 votes in unanimity. This is not going to fly. We will not be able to deliver military decisions, and we will not be able to deliver economic decisions if we are stuck in the Council with unanimity votes. And if we cannot reform EU, then we have to complement EU with additional tracks. And then it is about intergovernmental decisions, about those who want to join additional structures. These structures should not be in competition with the EU, but they should make EU more agile. And yes, it is not just about EU countries. If we need, we must integrate United Kingdom, we must integrate Canada, we must integrate Ukraine, because we have a lot to learn from those countries and a lot to face with those countries together. And there we are with the second challenge as how to operationalize the sovereignty that we're talking about. The tech package that we have been seeing and that we have received is a great step forward. It's not perfect, and we have a lot of criticism to talk about. But this is the first step. This is a realization that we need to become more capable in the area of technology. It's not something, and I know that our American partners, some of them are probably here in the room, are a little bit wary about this. And when I was in the United States, many of them asked, surprised, how can this be that a German technology company suddenly does not want to join projects together with an American technology company? Well, everything has consequences. And the way how this American administration is destroying our mutual trust is not contained to the White House. And if the big tech companies are bending the knee in front of this administration, then the relationship becomes toxic and is not contained just to politics. And that's why I've been saying it during my May trip to the United States. I've been saying it again and again, that erosion of trust that is being advanced by this administration is self-defeating. It's not in the interest of the United States, and it's not in the interest of Washington to continue down that path. And it's not in the interest of big tech and American big technological companies to join this trend, because we want to work with them. But we do not want interdependencies turn into vulnerabilities. We have seen enough. We want to be and to continue to be transatlanticists. And we need to continue to be transatlanticists. But this can only be based on mutual trust and reliability on both sides. And yes, we know exactly that times are over when we could not only rely, but over-depend on the military capacities of one superpower. The times are over when we thought that all the solutions in the world will be solved and delivered by the one global policeman, which is sitting in the White House. We got it. And I think it's clear that we're trying to do our best in order to take responsibilities into our hands. Who's paying for the military help for Ukraine now? Who have been able to organize the 90 billion credit and had to go through very difficult elections in order to secure that, but were ready to find other solutions if Hungary wouldn't have joined and wouldn't have supported. I think Europe has understood, and this lesson from the Trump administration was very clear. We are not on our own, but we must take our future into our own hands. But this future is our joint future. It's not just European future and Europe goes it alone. It's about American interests on this continent. It's about the ability of Americans to act and to use their bases in case they need them. It's about American interests in services, in digital services, with a huge market that we have, about their access to a lot of what we're doing, to our procurement. Well, they shouldn't be surprised that this is not going to be the case in the future if we feel vulnerable and we feel threatened by speeches at Munich security conferences, whether soft or hard. We cannot be coerced into something that we, as a sovereign nation or a sovereign union, do not want to do in the future. And this is nothing confrontational. This is natural. And I say this to my American friends when I see them, and I will see them next week in Nicosia at our Transatlantic Legislators Dialogue, to the people from Senate and from Congress. You legislate on your territory, and this is your right. Well, our right is to legislate on our territory. We want to decide, and when I write my AI Act, which I negotiated, or when we negotiated DSA, we want to decide what is in the interest of our constituencies, just as you decide what is in the interest of your constituencies. This is not something that is an attack on you and your interests. This is something that is a given. It's a natural thing. But one thing I would like to caution when we talk about sovereignty. Sovereignty is about scale. The competition that we are in now, is about scale. It's about scale of compute. It's about scale of capital. You see this when you see the numbers that are invested by the Trump administration or by Saudis. You see this when we're talking about gigafactories and when you see how much the big tech is investing into compute. And there is a trend that I am worried about. Our scale is European Union. Our scale is not a competition of national sovereignties. And what I'm seeing now, and what I'm hearing from Berlin and from this government as well, but also from Italy, sometimes from France, is the solution is being sought in national capitals and not the synergy between ourselves. The future budget, as it is presented now, and we're negotiating it for 2020 starting from 2027, is a bundle of national budget programs. This is not scale. Gigafactories have become national trophies. Germany wants a gigafactory. France wants their own gigafactory. Every country, seven gigafactories, will be delivered as gifts to nations. Well, this is not how it should go. When I talk to one of the European hyperscalers and one of the European AI companies, it's easy to guess which one, we don't have that many, they said they would have preferred a gigafactory which would be French-German, a joint gigafactory. But neither France nor Germany want to share. And instead of joining forces and complementing what each nation can contribute best, we're having competitors squeezed into one gigafactories in one national factory. This is not scale. I'm negotiating the Space Act now. In space, we will only be able to compete with Elon Musk and with SpaceX, but also deliver on many other things. We're talking about data centers that will be installed on the orbit now. We will only compete with them if we have European solutions. Instead, this capital and Italy are doing everything to destroy the original Space Act proposal that we decide things in a European way and want to keep it in national hands. And these are just several examples of how we're missing the sovereignty scale that actually would bring us forward internationally and globally. We are doing mistakes, but we are going in the right direction nevertheless. But the third point that I wanted to make, and this will be the final one, is something that we're still missing, and I don't see this yet. Imagination. We don't have the power to imagine ourselves and our role into this new world. We don't know what we are. What are we going to play? What game are we playing? And what kind of function do we play in this global game with the United States that doesn't love us anymore, and we want to be loved, with China, which is getting stronger than the United States, with Russia, which is self-conscious, and yes, they are maybe losing this war, but they are very self-confident in their ambitions on our continent, and with the global South, which have found their role, which is becoming self-confident, and with whom we don't have a language that we can speak except for Entwicklungshilfe. We haven't found our role yet. One thing I would like to caution: our role is not to be loved. Our role is not to be admired, to be liked, and to get majorities in General Assembly by all costs. I know how it hurt that we did not get what we wanted in the General Assembly. But I think that the discussions went in the wrong way. It's not about pleasing majorities in the General Assemblies by throwing out and throwing away our values and our history and what we are convinced for. It's not about apologizing. It's about finding our values and being true to themselves. And if the value is international law, then yes, we have to be very clear with many of our partners. But if the value is also staying true to the lessons of our history, then we are true to our lessons of our history, and we have nothing to apologize for the decisions that we make now. It is about finding our own compass and not always looking at whether Washington or Nairobi are loving us. So this imagination, I hope that these 2 days will contribute to looking and to finding it also in our bilateral transatlantic relationship. It is about geopolitics. It is about geoeconomics. But it is also about how we in Europe can tailor our own way of being sovereign and geoeconomic. And the two things that are important. This sovereignty should be sovereignty for common good, not for egoisms and not for big tech or big companies. It is about sovereignty that is based on trust, because European sovereignty will be based on the trust of consumers and trust of our people, who will know that we will not build data centers that will take away their water and their electricity bills that will skyrocket. And our American friends know what I'm talking about. The discussions in the United States are going into the direction of a backlash because too many data centers and too much transition is unchecked coming from AI. And number two, the sovereignty cannot be substituted by new dependencies. If we want to be less dependent, it means also being less dependent on things like fossil fuels. And we have already been taught a second lesson with the Iran war, that we should not be over-reliant on fossil fuels, that we should be looking for renewable solutions, and we should not wind up the solutions that we were talking about at the beginning of the war against Ukraine. So becoming sovereign must also mean becoming truly independent in our future decisions. Let's get sovereign, let's get successful, because only successful sovereignty will convince our voters, our consumers, our companies, our citizens. Sovereignty guided by values. This is the European answer to the new geoeconomics.
Thank you so much, Sergey, for these wonderful words. You gave us a lot to chew on over the course of the day, and I'm pretty sure that there is a lot which we are going to pick up on and to discuss. We don't have a lot of time left anymore for questions, so I will just take one. And I would like to, I should have mentioned that before, those who were here yesterday know that we do have a lot of young partners, and our young GET leaders are right in the front there. And you always have the opportunity to ask the first question and get involved. So, any of you wants to hop in? Yeah, that was fast.
Thank you also from my side for this thought-provoking statement. I have to say I got a little bit the impression that NATO might be dead, so I would be interested in your idea of an ESC and what you think this could do better than NATO or should do better than NATO, especially concerning military posture towards Russia and deterrence, and what you expect to when we construct such an institution, what would happen to NATO when we have double structures. Thank you.
Thank you. ESC, for those who don't know, is not European Song Contest, is European Security Council, the proposal that, thanks for being interested in that, the proposal that we're pushing for. I think one thing, and you mentioned Russia, one thing is important. I often have an impression that many in Brussels or in Berlin do not understand that they are watching us. And of course they see every time if we cannot make a decision, sometimes a quite simple decision, within one session of the Council in Brussels, because 26 agree and one disagrees. And I think simplifying the decision-making structures by having a Security Council where a number of countries would voluntarily delegate their decision-making capacity to a smaller number of countries who will be in responsibility, and by the way, I would also say should be re-elected, all of them, on a regular basis, because we don't have foreign policy continuity anymore in our countries and our government, something we used to have in the 80s and 90s. This has to be corrected all the time. And this already will be a huge asset, that our adversaries will know that if a decision has to be made, this decision can be made fast, something that we cannot deliver now. This is not competition to NATO, and not competition to the EU, because we make sure that there is no competing competences. And this is, by the way, also not a solution for someone to move armies. ESC will never make a decision whether everyone has to go to war, but it can make a decision that we have a case of war. And based on that, then the Bundestag and other national parliaments could make the decisions they need. So the main asset will be faster and clearer decision-making capacities and also more strategic decision-making capacities. Now, with 27 members sitting every month and trying to decide something, we do not deliver.
Well, thank you very, very much. You gave us so much to chew on. I think we need to continue the conversation with you. Can we all come to Brussels?
Of course. I can only, I think, host. My chief of staff is sitting there.
Maybe you can
I don't know.
stand up so
What's the limit?
everybody sees her?
What's the limit of visitors group? I think 15 or something.
At least 10, but 100 per year.
100 per year. I mean, this could be 1 year contingent. We should continue that. I'm happy to host, especially the young people. Always happy to see you in Brussels, but also in Berlin or elsewhere in Stuttgart as well.
Yeah.
Looking
So,
forward.
Sergey, you didn't say earlier, where's your district?
Well, I'm responsible for Berlin and Brandenburg, as you know, Europeans, and Uckermark. As you know, in the European Parliament, we don't have Wahlkreise, but we have responsibilities. So I'm responsible for Berlin, I'm from Pankow, and for Brandenburg. It's an interesting combination of very different constituencies, but it's exciting.
So we can also see you here.
I can host you here as well, or you can come to Uckermark when we will host you there.
That's right. So give him a big applause.
Thank you so much.
Much. And with this, we come to the next part in our